I want you to imagine something for a moment. Close your eyes and picture this. Every single day that dawns is a fresh, blank canvas, untouched, full of potential, waiting for the first stroke of color. Now, feel the brush in your hand. That brush isn't just a tool. It's the embodiment of your choices, your will, your focus. It's you. The paint is your energy, your time, your actions. And this studio, this sacred space where you create, is your life. The question that echoes in the quiet of this new morning is the most important one you'll ever answer. What will you paint today? You see, we often get lost in the grand mural. We dream of the finished masterpiece of our ultimate success, happiness, and fulfillment. We stare at the distant horizon and feel overwhelmed by the distance. But the master painter doesn't start by obsessing over the final gallery showing. He starts with today's canvas. He starts with the single, deliberate stroke right in front of him. This is the profound, simple secret. Every single day is not just another page on the calendar. It is a sovereign opportunity, an opportunity for refinement, for sharpening your skills, for calibrating your thinking, for elevating your life to a level you perhaps only glimpsed yesterday. But this elevation is not an accident. It is not a product of chance or luck. It is a product of conscious, consistent creation. You have to make it happen. One of the greatest lessons I've ever learned, one that reshaped my entire trajectory, is this. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every single day. Conversely, failure is simply a few errors in judgment, repeated every day. Think about that. The chasm between a life of achievement and a life of regret isn't dug by a single cataclysmic event. It's etched by the tiny, daily grooves of habit. It's the 5 minutes of reading versus the 5 minutes of mindless scrolling. It's the choice to respond with patience versus the reflex to react with irritation. It's the decision to save $1 versus the impulse to spend it. The difference lies in the small things, the seemingly insignificant choices you make daily. It's not the once-year revolution. It's the quiet, daily evolution. It's the marginal gains, the 1% improvements, the bricks of discipline you lay each morning that, over time, build an unshakable fortress of character and accomplishment. I've distilled this philosophy down to 10 essential areas, 10 canvases within the larger canvas, each requiring your daily attention. We're going to move through them with purpose, because understanding them is just the beginning. The real work, the real art, begins when you pick up your brush. Your attitude is not just a feeling. It is the primer on your canvas. It is the foundational layer upon which every other color will be applied. A weak negative primer taints every stroke that follows. A strong, positive primer makes the colors vibrant and true. Improve your attitude just a fraction each day, and you will change the entire texture of your life. You might think, it's just how I feel, I can't help it. I'm telling you, that's a myth you can no longer afford to believe. Your attitude is a lens. It is how you interpret the world, how you frame problems, how you metabolize challenges. A negative attitude sees a setback as a permanent roadblock. A positive attitude sees the same setback as a temporary detour, often with a valuable lesson signposted along the way. Your attitude is also a magnetic force. It operates with invisible, undeniable power. A perpetually negative, complaining attitude repels opportunity. It pushes people away. It whispers to the world, "Stay back, I am closed for business." Who wants to partner with, promote, or champion a vortex of negativity? On the other hand, a positive, solutions-oriented attitude is a magnet for opportunity. It attracts people, ideas, and luck. People are drawn to it. They want to collaborate, to open doors, to see you succeed. Why? Because your energy lifts them up. Improving your attitude is a sculptor's work. You don't carve a masterpiece in a day. You chip away. Today, maybe you chip away at self-pity by writing down 3 things you're grateful for before your feet even hit the floor. Tomorrow, you might sand down your impatience by taking 5 deep breaths before responding in a tense situation. The next day, you polish your perspective by reframing one problem as a puzzle to be solved. Brick by brick, stroke by stroke, You build an attitude that doesn't just withstand storms, but learns to dance in the rain. If attitude is the primer, communication is the brushstroke itself, the visible action that translates your inner world into shared reality. Everything of significance in the human experience involves communication. Every relationship deepened, every deal struck, every idea spread, every conflict resolved hinges on this ancient, vital art. And let's be clear, communication is not synonymous with talking. In fact, the most powerful communicators are often masters of a more rare skill, listening. Not the kind of listening where you're just waiting for your turn to speak, but empathetic, attentive, deep listening. Listening to understand the emotion, the need, the unspoken message behind the words. Good communication is a bridge. On one end, you clearly and respectfully express your thoughts and feelings. On the other, you genuinely receive and seek to understand those of another person. You can improve this bridge every single day. Today, practice asking one more clarifying question before you give your opinion. Tomorrow, work on eliminating filler words that dilute your message. The next day, practice giving a compliment that is specific and sincere. The payoff is immense. Clear communication prevents the corrosive acid of misunderstanding. It builds trust, the currency of all strong relationships. It amplifies your influence. When you communicate with clarity and empathy, you don't just share information. You build rapport, inspire action, and lead effectively. Think of the last major conflict in your life, personal or professional. I would wager it was rooted at some level in a communication breakdown. Now imagine the cost saved, the harmony gained by daily honing this one skill. Self-discipline is the steady hand of the painter. It is the force that keeps the brush moving when your arm is tired, when inspiration is fading, when you'd rather be doing anything else. It is the bridge, no, the architect and the builder of the bridge, between your goals and your accomplishments. Talent, intelligence, and vision are engines, but self-discipline is the driver. Without a driver, the most powerful engine just sits there, rumbling uselessly. Success is impossible without the ability to do what you know you must do, when you must do it, regardless of how you feel in the moment. The beautiful truth is that self-discipline is a muscle. It atrophies with disuse and grows stronger with consistent strain. You don't start by bench pressing 300 pounds, you start with the bar. Similarly, you improve discipline with micro commitments. Today, you discipline yourself to make your bed immediately. Tomorrow, you commit to finishing the one most important task on your list before noon. The next day, you resist the urge to check social media for the first hour of your workday. These acts seem trivial, but each one is a rep for your discipline muscle. Each one is a vote for your identity as someone who follows through. And the secret is that discipline begets habit, and habit makes discipline obsolete. When a behavior becomes automatic, you've freed up your conscious willpower for the next challenge. The goal is to build a life so structured with good habits that success becomes your default setting. While attitude is the emotional lens, mindset is the underlying sketch on your canvas, the fundamental beliefs and assumptions that guide the entire composition. It's the difference between sketching a tiny, cramped scene and drafting a grand, expansive panorama. Your mindset is the narrative you tell yourself about yourself and the world. The most common enemy of a great life is the limiting belief. I'm not good enough. This is just how it is. I could never. These are not truths. They are mental shackles you have the key to unlock. Every day, you must challenge and upgrade your mindset. This is cognitive renovation work. When you catch yourself thinking, "This is too hard," add one word, "This is too hard right now." See the shift? You've moved from a fixed statement to a temporary condition. Today, read 10 pages of a book that expands your thinking. Tomorrow, listen to a podcast that interviews someone who has overcome obstacles you face. The next day, spend 10 minutes in quiet reflection, actively replacing a fear with a faith. I knew a person whose mindset was a museum of past failures. Every new opportunity was viewed through the dusty glass of old disappointments. He was paralyzed. The breakthrough came when he began, daily, to argue with his own pessimistic thoughts. He started collecting evidence of his small wins. He began to see failure as data, not destiny. As his mindset shifted from "I can't" to "I'm learning how," his entire world began to open up. Time is the canvas itself, the finite, non-renewable surface upon which you paint. We all get the same 24-hour rectangle each day. The master isn't the one who wishes for a bigger canvas. The master is the one who uses every precious inch of the one they have with profound intention. Time management is not about cramming more in. It's about prioritizing what matters most and protecting it fiercely. It's the art of distinguishing between the urgent and the important. How often do you end a day feeling busy yet unfulfilled, having spent your hours on the loud demands of others, while the quiet, important work of your own goals went untouched? Improving here is a daily practice of stewardship. Today, start your day by identifying your one must-do task, the one thing that, if accomplished, would make the day a success. Tomorrow, practice the power of no, declining a request that doesn't align with your core priorities. The next day, aud it 30 minutes of lost time, perhaps mindless entertainment, and consciously reallocate it to a growth activity. Remember, a critical part of managing your time is managing your energy. Schedule your deep, focused work for when you are at your peak, and crucially, schedule rest. Rest is not stolen time. It is an essential part of the creative cycle. A dull blade cannot make a precise cut. A tired mind cannot paint a brilliant stroke. Your knowledge is your color palette. The more hues, shades, and tints you have at your disposal, the richer, more nuanced, and more compelling your painting can be. In a world changing at blistering speed, to stop learning is to choose to paint with only the primary colors while others have the full spectrum. Formal education gives you a starter set, but self-education, the lifelong voluntary pursuit of understanding, is what creates masterpieces. The more you know, the more connections you can see, the more skills you have, the more value you can create, and the market rewards value creation handsomely. Commit to being a perpetual student. Today, listen to an educational audiobook during your commute. Tomorrow, watch a tutorial to learn a new software feature relevant to your work. The next day, have a conversation with someone from a different department or background, seeking to understand their perspective. The compound interest of daily learning is staggering. You may not feel smarter day to day, but over a year, you become a different, far more capable person. My mentor, Mr. Schoaf, embodied this. He was a voracious learner. He once told me, "Jim, formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune." I took that to heart. I began investing in books, courses, and seminars, not as an expense, but as the highest return investment I could make in myself. And he was right. New doors of opportunity swung open precisely because I had the knowledge keys to unlock them. Your financial health is the structural integrity of your studio. A studio with a leaking roof, crumbling walls, and constant financial worry is no place for creating masterpieces. Money stress is a creativity killer, a focus-shattering force. You must improve your financial discipline daily, because neglect here undermines every other area. Financial success is less about your income and more about your behavior with that income. It's not how much do I make, but how much do I keep and put to work. Many high earners are financially fragile because they have mastered earning but not stewardship. Start small, but start today. Today, simply track every dollar you spend without judgment, just for awareness. Tomorrow, based on that awareness, create a simple budget, a plan for your money before it arrives. The next day, automate a small transfer to a savings or investment account. The principle is timeless. Spend less than you earn and invest the difference. This requires the daily discipline of delayed gratification, saying no to a want today to secure a need tomorrow. This is about freedom. Financial management isn't about greed. It's about creating the stability and options that allow you to focus on your painting without the constant anxiety of a collapsing studio. When you control your money, you control a significant portion of your stress and amplify your freedom to create. Personal development is the ongoing refinement of the artist. It is the commitment to becoming, day by day, a more skilled, more aware, more integrated human being. Life is growth. Stagnation is an illusion. If you are not growing upward, you are decaying. This goes beyond acquiring knowledge. It's about holistic growth, emotional, spiritual, physical, and social. It's about building character as diligently as you build a career. Today, work on your self-awareness through 5 minutes of journaling. Tomorrow, practice a moment of empathy, trying to truly feel a situation from another person's point of view. The next day, do a difficult physical workout, strengthening the vessel that carries your mind and spirit. A crucial part of personal development is unlearning, shedding old, limiting identities, releasing grudges that weigh you down, abandoning strategies that no longer serve the person you are becoming. You attract not what you want, but who you are. To attract greater success, you must become more disciplined. To attract deeper love, you must become more loving. To attract abundance, you must cultivate an abundant mindset. This is the alchemy of daily personal work. Purpose is the vision for the painting. It is the answer to why. Why this canvas? Why these colors? Why get up and paint at all? Without a compelling vision, the daily disciplines can feel like drudgery. With a clear purpose, every stroke, even the difficult ones, is infused with meaning. Your purpose isn't necessarily a single dramatic destiny. It is your North Star, the guiding principle that gives direction to your efforts. It's what you stand for, the unique value you feel called to contribute, the legacy you wish to brush onto the collective canvas of humanity. You discover and refine your purpose daily. Today, ask yourself, what activity makes me lose track of time? What injustice stirs my soul? Tomorrow, take one small, symbolic action aligned with that insight. Volunteer an hour, write a heartfelt note, start a passion project. The next day, review your schedule and ask if your time allocations reflect your deepest values. I recall a highly successful individual who was miserable. He had the trophy but not the triumph. In our conversation, it became clear he was a master at climbing ladders, but had never checked if they were leaning against the right wall. He had neglected his purpose. When he began to reconnect with his desire to mentor and serve others, his entire life recalibrated. The success that followed was not just external. It was internal, fulfilling, and lasting. Daily Discipline No. 10. Your gratitude. Finally, gratitude is the light in which you view your painting. The same canvas can look dull and flawed in poor light, or radiant and perfect in brilliant, warm light. Gratitude is that transformative light. It is the practice of focusing on what is present and good, rather than what is absent and lacking. Gratitude is perhaps the most accessible and powerful daily practice. It literally rewires your brain for abundance. When you end your day by reflecting on 3 specific things you are grateful for, you train your mind to scan for positives, not just problems. You shift from a mindset of scarcity, I don't have enough, to one of abundance, look at all I have to work with. This isn't Pollyannish ignorance of real problems. It is the strategic choice to feed the wolf of hope and courage inside you, rather than the wolf of fear and resentment. Even on the hardest day, you can find a sliver of light, the comfort of a bed, the lesson in a failure, the strength you discovered within yourself. Gratitude is also generative. It makes you more generous, more pleasant to be around, more resilient. It attracts positivity because you become a source of it. A woman I knew was in a deep valley of loss, job, relationship, confidence. I challenged her to the daily gratitude list. It felt impossible at first. I'm grateful for this pillow, she started, but the list grew. The shift was slow but tectonic. That daily act of finding light didn't change her circumstances overnight, but it changed her in the circumstances. It gave her the strength to rebuild, brick by grateful brick, a life more beautiful than before. So here is your studio. Here are your 10 canvases, your 10 disciplines. The brush is in your hand. The question remains, what will you paint today? Remember, the masterpiece of your life is not created in a single, frenzied burst of inspiration. It is painted stroke by stroke, day by day, with the quiet consistency of a craftsman who trusts the process. You don't need a grand, sweeping change today. You just need one small, intentional improvement, one stroke on one canvas. Maybe today you choose to prime your day with a better attitude. Perhaps you make one clear communication. You might perform one act of discipline, challenge one limiting thought, protect one precious hour for your key goal. The magic is in the compounding. A 1% improvement daily leads to a life that is not 365% better in a year, but 37 times better due to the nature of compound growth. So I leave you with this charge. Do not leave this moment without a decision. What is the one small discipline you will practice today? Jot it down, say it aloud, commit to it. Pick up your brush, dip it in the color of today's intention. And make your mark. The canvas is fresh, the studio is waiting. Begin. Success is not something you chase. It is something you attract by the person you become, one daily discipline at a time. Now, go become.